How you going? It's Darren here from Lucky Strike Gold in Geelong. Hopefully tonight runs smoothly, but you never know. The only thing is if the power goes out, we might be in trouble, but I think we've got everything else ironed out. Now, remember tonight to enter the $50 gift voucher, scan that QR code. And look, we like hearing your stories, whether they don't have to be about gold, they can be about digging up an old bottle, finding an old relic that you thought was going to be gold. We've all done that. But yeah, we just love hearing your stories, guys. Now, there's a competition going on to guess the weight of this cone. It's a melted bit of gold, melted into a cone. It was actually traded in during the week on a GPX 6000. So, look, comment live tonight, and the one that's the closest will be announced next week, because we need to go through it, because there'll be a lot trying to guess the weight. But like I said, it was traded in on a GPX 6000. So, yeah, that's it there. And yeah, you'll get $50 Lucky Strike money. Now, the Lucky Strike money is money that you can spend in our store, so it's well worth entering. And tonight there'll be two winners picked randomly for the two prizes will be, what will I give away tonight? How about a nice orange scoop? Now, scoops, the orange ones are very popular because when you're out prospecting, you've got it in your back pocket. I know I've done it myself, and a lot of people will lose the scoop. An orange one, at least you'll see it from 100, 200 metres away, where if that scoop's, say, green or black, pretty hard to find. Look, I know on the tours that we do, we've lost a lot of scoops. Customers have lost them, but I can tell you what, we've also found a lot. So, yeah, that will be a prize tonight. That's second prize. And the first prize will be a stubby holder and a Nugget Ned's Gold Guzzler sucker bottle. But this is no ordinary stubby holder. It's from Minelab, but it's got 4 magnets on the side here. Now, it will stick on anything steel, so if you're sitting next to your car, you can put it on your car, and they're very strong magnets. They will support a can or a stubby. So, yeah. So that's second prize, and that's first prize. So, yeah, please comment, guys, because we can't give it away unless you comment or put up a post. Okay, the next thing, look, we are a family business at Lucky Strike Gold, and you met the wife last week, which is CEO, which is, what did you say? Chief Officer of everything. So, yeah, I'll introduce you to Taleesha, and yeah, she'll tell me a little bit about herself. I'll put them down there. Here's Taleesha.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous to be on here tonight.
We are. After last week, yeah, we had a few dramas. But anyway, it's better to be on than not be on.
Yes, exactly.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Taleesha.
Well, I feel like prospecting's in my DNA. I've just been grown up around it ever since I was a baby. Learned how to crawl over in Western Australia, and I'd say that's one of my first memories over there.
Yeah. I remember you crawling in the sand, actually.
With the 3-corner jacks.
Yeah, 3-corner jacks. I remember I took all your bikes over there, thinking that you'd be able to ride around on the tracks over there. I think you only got about 10 metres and you had about 10 punches and it just didn't work. What are your memories of Western Australia? Any that stand out?
Well, I remember I was always the pit carrier. That was my job, carrying that around and standing by your side. I feel like a lot of things just come naturally to us. Like you would always be talking to everyone about how to read the ground and the signs to look for of where gold would be. So I think there's a lot more that I know just because it's come as second nature, basically.
Yeah, we had some good memories over there. Yeah, anyone that doesn't know, yeah, we used to go over there for, up to 15 weeks. And, yeah, I was full-time prospecting over there. And, yeah, Leanne, my wife, would watch the kids. And, yeah, I was lucky enough to come home for a feed at night time and then do it all again. Now, 15 weeks is a long time, but you do what you have to do. Do you remember the snake when we were sitting around the campfire one night and a snake went between the chairs, past the fire and under the caravan?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I remember the snake went between the chairs and the fire, and yeah, Mum and yourself were up on the chair screaming and yelling, and yeah, and I remember going into town the next day and I told one of the chaps in there what type of snake it was, and he said, oh, guarda, he said dangerous, and he said there'll be more within that area. So we actually packed up and moved the caravan. Yeah, I remember it well. Yeah. Do you remember?
I'll tell you one thing I do remember.
Yeah.
That time we were driving, I think it was on a dirt road somewhere in Western Australia. I was only a baby, so I don't remember it, but I just know we've talked about it so many times.
I know what you're going to say.
It's burnt into my memory.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat in my baby seat. I think there was maybe a picnic basket in the middle.
An esky on behind Mum.
Yeah.
I think you were in the middle in the baby seat.
Yeah.
And yeah, and yeah, on the other side. Yeah, okay.
And tell them what happened.
Yeah. It was a dirt road. It was between Walloona and Meekatharra, a very rough road. It was dirt. And we were driving along, and I remember a big bang, and yeah, you kids were screaming and crying and that, and I turned around, I hit the brakes, I turned around, and a steel dropper had come up through the floor. I think it was an EA Falcon back then, a blue one, but it had come up through the floor of the car, hit the back seat where Mum was sitting in, and then hit the esky. If you were sitting in that seat, yeah, I think you'd be
To the end of me.
yeah, but yeah, it was just a steel dropper, probably about 4 foot long, and yeah, I've got the photos of it. It was just, yeah, scary times.
Were you able to drive into town after that?
Yeah, I ripped it out. I pulled it out through the back seat and stood it up on the posts and took some photos of it. And yeah, it only seems like yesterday, but it's probably going back, what, 20...
Have to be, what, 24 years at least?
Yeah, it'd have to be.
25?
Yeah, yeah. Are the photos of you up? Do you know?
Yeah, I think they're coming up, the photos.
Yeah,
We're looking at before, reminiscing at some of these old photos of
yeah,
Dad and I out in Western Australia, me on the motorbike with you, and
yeah.
remember all your gold buying
Oh yeah.
back then too. I remember that big nugget I was holding. I was struggling
Yeah,
to
was.
keep that up.
I think there you're only about, I don't know how old you'd be, probably 5 or 6. And that nugget there was, I think it was a 46 ounce piece that a friend found in Ballarat, Ian. Yeah, nice piece, but I remember you were struggling to hold it up.
For
and
the photo,
no. Tell everybody a little bit, I suppose, about your background, what you've done prior to working for us. And
So I studied design and technology for 3 years, and after that I started working for a well-known multi-million-dollar company here in Geelong as a senior product developer. And then it's been almost a year since I've made the jump over to work for Mum and Dad full time. And I was always kind of on the sidelines cheering you guys on and helping out with odd ends here and there, but I've really enjoyed taking this on full time and helping grow and
Unfortunately, Mum and Dad aren't too good on technology, and you are. So yeah. Do you remember when we were in WA and I found the 24-ounce piece. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember Mum and I were still at home and you'd gone over for your yearly winter. Back then you're just doing it in like the winter periods. Yeah. And I answered the phone when you called and you told me that you found this massive nugget the size of your hand. And I thought you were telling fibs. I couldn't believe it. And you kept reassuring me, no, it's real. I'm coming home. You'll see me in a few days.
Yeah.
And I put you onto Mum and I was like, he's lost it again. He's telling fibs.
Yeah, I think Mum didn't believe me because I was just out of Kalgoorlie and I pulled up to a well-known area and I parked the car and I only walked probably, I reckon, 5 metres off the track. A lot of people know the story, but I walked 5 metres off the track. I got a really loud target next to a bush and at the time I was running an 18-inch coil, so I scraped about an inch of sand, loamy stuff away on a big pad and it was still there and I thought, oh, that's funny. So I scraped another inch and I saw this blobby thing come up onto the mountain and it was about that big, but it was fairly flat. And I thought, oh, it's a bit of painted lead. Someone's playing a trick on me. And I picked it up and I just couldn't believe it. I didn't even finish detecting the area. I had to tell someone and I drove into Kalgoorlie, phoned up Mum and she said, oh, how'd you go today? I said, good, I got a 24. And she said, are you joking? I said, no, 24-ouncer. And yeah.
Because didn't she think you meant
24 grams. Yeah. So look, I drove across the Nullarbor. It sat on my lap. It sat on the seat beside me. It sat on the dash. I probably wore half an ounce off it just looking at it. But it was a 24-ounce piece. And that was the start the next year of the Golden Relic tours. And I actually took my customers there and my mates are saying, you're mad. What happens if there's a bigger one there? But, there's enough gold out there to go around. So, yeah, it was a good experience. So that is the largest I've ever found, a 24-ounce. My goal is to find a 30-ouncer. When I find the 30, I want to go straight into the 100-ounce club. You may laugh, but it will happen one day.
Maybe with some heavy machinery.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I think that might be my 5 minutes of fame up.
Oh, thanks,
Can't say I've
Taleesha.
got the same camera skills as you.
That's it. Yeah. Has anyone got any questions or comments? So, look, put them in now, guys, because then that way we can go through them. And, a bit later on, just go through them and answer them. Hopefully I know it. Look, even though I started in 1980 detecting, excuse me, look, I don't think you can know everything about prospecting in a lifetime. If I said that, look, I know everything, I think it would be ego and BS taken over. You're learning all the time. And look, I learn things off you guys. You're forever learning. So, please don't let your ego take over. So, any questions or that, just keep them coming, guys. Okay, the stamper update. The last show I did, someone said, oh, what are you doing rest of the week? Well, Friday, I jumped in the car. I got a lend of a trailer, which was rated 3 tonne. I got me doubts, but it was rated 3 tonne. And I drove 12 hours the other side of Bathurst in the middle of nowhere, I suppose it was, to pick up this stamper that I bought. Now, I hadn't seen it, so I bought it sight unseen, but the picture that I saw, it had the main box, it had one stamper, and it had the camshaft that lifts up the stampers. When I got there, the owner, it was deceased estate, but the son said to me, he said, oh, you'll have to hunt around in the grass for all the parts, because he said it's complete, but it's in the grass and it's spread out over about, I reckon it was 10 metres. but I had to remove 10. It was a warm day, and yeah, I was a bit scared, I suppose, moving the tin because there's a lot of snakes and I'm petrified of snakes. And I grabbed one bit of tin and I sort of ran with the tin, nothing under that sheet, so I moved the other bits of tin. And yeah, but what I found out, there was the big side arms there, which are made of cast iron, and it's got the beautiful W. Anderson and Sons Engineers, Ironmongers, Makers, Melbourne and Richmond stamped on both sides of the actual arms. But the box, there's a big logo on it, big fancy logo on front and back. And the wheel was a bonus, the cam wheel, the weighted wheel. But look, it's all there, so I'm hoping to get it set up. But I had that trailer loaded right up. It was hanging out about that much out of the trailer. Going down the Hume Highway, I thought, gee, am I going to get pulled over or not? But look, I got home, had a forklift at work, so unloaded it that way. And yeah, I just want to get it set up now. My wife said to me, oh, when's it going to be set up? I said, oh, when you give me some time off. But yeah, it's busy. But yeah, I'm hoping to get it set up and have it as a main feature in the shop. It's a 3-head stamper. It's not that big, but it's just a piece of Australian history in my books. And like I said last week, a lot of this mining memorabilia got scrapped for the wars. And yeah, to have something survive like this, yeah, I'm just happy to have it and yeah, set it up. Look, it won't be a working one, but yeah, I'll just have it set up and have it all cleaned up and yeah. But there was that many bits and pieces in the grass. I actually had a detector in the back seat, and I had to turn it on, move the car, turn it on, and detect this grass to try and find out where all the little pieces were, so. And then it's, I think I was expecting half an hour to load up and come home. It took me 3.5 hours because I had to get a little crane up there to lift it onto the trailer, and it took 12 hours to drive home. And then I think I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 1, and I had to work in the shop the next day, so I was a little bit tired. Wasn't cranky, I was just a little bit tired. Yeah, just some, we do a weekly newsletter. So look, if you want to get it, just ring up the shop and we email it out. And here's some of the things that, we had a couple from Switzerland who come on a private tour about 6 months ago. Now, they had enjoyed it that much. They come back over for another 7 days, but this time they hired 2 GPX 6000s off us. And look, we do hire the 6000s out to people that we know. The reason we don't hire them out, I suppose, to people that we don't know is because there's always one person that wrecks it for everybody else, and that goes with anything. So, yeah. So they hired these 6000s. We pointed them in the right direction, or Dave did. And look, they probably ended up with, I can't remember how many grams, but there could have been 5 or 6 grams in their hand there that they got. So they were wrapped. And look, that was their second time in Australia. So yeah, what they learnt on the private tour took them further, and they found gold. So yeah, they went home happy and they got a few bits to show their friends. Another thing is the signal maps are back in stock. There's Bright, Buckland, Beechworth, Eldorado, Mitta, I think you pronounce it, Eskdale, Stanley and Myrtleford. But there's a lot of other areas too that Signal Maps does, Glenn. So if you're watching tonight, Glenn, how you going? But it's not just Signal Maps. There's Doug Stone's maps, there's John Tully's and there's Steve Barham maps. Now, maps, people say, oh, you know, the areas are flogged. They've been looked at, but it gives you an idea of where to start. And you know that gold's been found in a certain gully. Work out from the gullies. Work the sides of the hills, the top of the gullies. You know, if there's happens to be a controlled burn off in there and they'll let you in there, go and have a look at them places, because after a controlled burn, you've got no sticks, no leaves. It's such a clear area. So, yeah. But research, as they say. Another tip is when you're panning and you're down to that last bit where you've got gold and black sand, run either a magnet over it or the specially designed magnets. The ones that are made specially for this, like you put it in the pan, you swirl it around where the black sand and the gold is, and it will pick up the black sand and the little, if there's any little bits of steel in there, and you'll take it over to another pan, pull the handle up, and it will drop off. But just be careful, because if you've got a little bit of ironstone and there's a gold attached to it, it will pick that ironstone up on the magnet. So just go through what you've actually dropped off. Now, this is a really important tip. I wish I knew about it when I was detecting a lot in Western Australia. A lot of people put their magnets on the end of their pick or on the steel bit. Now, the ones that have been detecting a lot in WA will relate to this very well. When you get a signal and you wave your magnet over where the target is, all the magnetic rocks jump up onto the magnet. And you'll end up with your magnet, but you'll end up with a clump of ironstone and rocks that is stuck on that magnet. And look, what I used to do is grab the ironstone off the magnet and just throw it next to a stump or a tree and then keep detecting. But sometimes I remember getting a little bit of a faint signal, running the magnet over it, and the signal was gone. And I just thought, oh, it's just a little bit of a glitch, and kept going. But I'm going to show you something, guys, here. This is a little, you think it's a fairly clean nugget. Here's a neodymium magnet. You watch what happens here. It sticks to the magnet. And you're thinking, oh, it's a bit of iron painted gold. It's not. It's actually a gold nugget. It probably weighs, I'd say, 1.5 grams. But when you take a close look at this nugget, you're probably not going to be able to see, but in there, in between the nugget, it's sort of folded over and there's ironstone in it. So if you were going along detecting and you've got a sound, you put your magnet over it like that, and you thought it was just a bit of rubbish, you got the rubbish off the magnet and threw it away. That there alone, at 1.5 grams, you're probably throwing away $220. And then the next person that comes along is going to find it. So just be careful when you're using magnets, you know, especially in WA or highly mineralised ground. It's just, like I said, I've done it myself. Yeah, just remember to keep them comments and questions coming through, guys, and yeah, we'll answer them a bit later on. Right, I've got a little video here of modern riverbeds. So I'll hand it over to Taleesha to run that through. It's Darren here from Lucky Strike Gold in Geelong. Just going to show you guys, I suppose, where you're more likely to get gold in a dry creek than not. This creek system here only flows when it's like a big downpour of rain, so it's, most of the times it's a dry creek. But down the bottom down there, it's very silted up, and the silt can be like 1 metre thick, so you're sort of wasting your time detecting unless it's something quite big. But an area above the creek here, and this is what I look for in a creek system, I look for a hard bottom, and I'm looking for a clay bottom, a slate bottom, conglomerate bottom, because they act as a natural sluice and gold will get caught up in it. And I know that there has been gold found in this situation down here. I'll show you down here. So what we've got here is it's a conglomerate bottom. It's a mix of quartz, ironstone that is cemented up over the millions of years. And you can imagine the water and the dirt and the gold coming down here, and it gets caught up in this type of scenario where it's like a natural sluice box, and it'll get caught up in pockets. So if you come across an area like this, it's well worth doing it. If you go into the creek and it's silted up a fair bit and you're not sure how deep it is, just dig a little test hole. Like, it might be only that deep, which means you can get smaller nuggets at that depth. But even though the creek system is here now, today, 50 million years ago, that creek system was running up the side here. And you can see all the old timers mine heaps through here. So they've got a bit of gold. Well worth going over the heaps and seeing what they've missed. Okay, yeah, that's a modern riverbed. Like with the old ancient riverbeds, that particular spot, it was probably 100 metres up the side of the hill, and over the millions of years, that creek system that was up on the hill then moves down, and the creek systems move just with, you know, weathering and water, and they'll move. You know, if we come back in another 50 million years, that creek system might be back where the old creek system was. So, and I know at Slatey Creek, like, you go out there of a weekend and you'll see a lot of people detecting in that creek system, but in most of the areas there, you know, it's silted up with stone and gravel, and it's probably, you know, 1.5 metres thick. The only thing you're really going to find there is probably a rusty bit of tin or something that has washed down from the creek. But if you look in that creek system where there's a hard bottom, like the conglomerate bottom or slate bottom or clay, the gold being heavy works its way down to something hard and it will sit there. And then if it's a big enough flood, it will get washed down the creek, but it's got to get caught somewhere. And even though there's no water in a lot of the creeks at the moment, it's a good idea to go out there and dig down to the hard bottom and scrape it and then take it somewhere and wash it, you know. So, yeah, but that's, like I said, where the creeks are nowadays is not where they were years ago. So, yeah. The Golden Relic tours, the Victorian boot camps, the 2, 3 and 4 day ones are all booked out. But if you're on our newsletter, you will find out about these events and a lot more. The WA ones, the 7-day all-inclusive tours, there is a few spots left on them, but the tag-alongs have all sold out. I was doing 3 of them. So, seeing the 3 WA tag-alongs got booked out so quickly, today was it? We just released another tag-along tour, which is on the 4th of August at Meekatharra. Meeka's one of my old hunting grounds. And anyone who does a lot of prospecting over there will know the ground is different. Kalgoorlie, it's different from Kalgoorlie to Laverton, Laverton to Leinster, and then Meekatharra. It's all different ground. It's different material. It's different vegetation. Yeah, down around Kalgoorlie, the gold tends to be deeper, and that's why the big gum trees are growing down there, because they need deep ground to survive. But the further you go up, you don't tend to see as many bigger trees. So what I'm saying is that the ground changes. So look, if you can scan the QR code to learn more about the Meekatharra tour, or you can ring up the shop or ask questions online. Gold price, gee, it's been a rocky sort of week. From last week, I think it was about 149. And look, we got it about 4 o'clock and it was 148.11. So it's dropped, what, 90 cents a gram. It's not a lot. It's still a damn good price. And someone asked me today, why did it drop? My opinion, whether I'm right or wrong, someone might know better than me. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think my opinion is why the gold price dropped is because Trump was talking to Ukraine and Russia, and he was trying to end the war over there. And I think people just eased off a little bit. You know, when there's talk of conflict over there, gold tends to jump a lot higher. When things are calm, gold tends to come down. But there's a lot more factors to do with gold, with the dollars and, yeah, all that. But, yeah, hopefully it keeps going. But, gee, 140, 148, 149, who would have believed it? Yeah, like I said last week, I remember selling gold for $12.50 a gram. Yeah, I wish I still had all my gold. So does a lot of you guys, I suppose. Scan this QR code to join the newsletter. Like I said, you can scan this QR code to join the newsletter, or you can ring up the shop and yeah, we'll send you out a weekly newsletter. And don't forget the $50 competition. We like, I suppose we're always chasing content to put in the newsletter, and we just love hearing stories. I love seeing gold. I don't care if it's a 0.2 of a gram or a 200 kilogram piece. I just love seeing gold. Yeah, I think I've got gold in me blood, but that's another story. Okay, gold of the week. The gold of the week is this little rabbit nugget. When people sell me gold, they'll say, oh, this bit looks like an elephant, or this bit looks like Donald Duck, or look, sometimes I can see what they're trying to tell me and other times I can't. But this nugget, yeah, to me, definitely looks like a rabbit. It's, yeah. It was I think just over 7.2 grams, that one there. So I'm just holding it up to the light, and it's actually got a hole through it where its eye is. So, yeah, unreal. So, yeah. But any gold's nice gold. Relics of the week. Now, I decided to do something a little bit different tonight, and it's something that not a lot of people, I suppose, talk about, and that's marbles. I haven't lost me marbles yet. This marble here, when my mum used to work during the school holidays, I would go off to some babysitters. They'd sort of watch us, and I remember Darren, gee, I was probably about 10 I suppose I was. He gave me this marble here. Now, I just liked it, and I've kept it all them years. But because I was a bit of a bowerbird when I was a teenager, I suppose, I used to hunt around the old house sites looking for old bottles, and as you were digging, you'd find old marbles, and I started to get a bit of an interest in marbles, and I started collecting them. And look, the ones I found at old house sites. If they were early enough, I'd keep them. I used to go around to a lot of clearance sales and car swap meets, and I'd see a little bag or a tub of marbles, and if they were old ones, I'd buy them, you know. And look, you used to pick them up for $5, $10 for an ice cream container full. And I remember going to an auction rooms in Ballarat, which was called Kittleties. Anyone from Ballarat will remember Kittleties. And there was a little jar full of marbles, and they were real nice early ones. And I remember bidding on them, and I think I paid $40 for them. And the auctioneer said, he said, it's marvellous what's becoming collectible nowadays. So I bought them, and yeah, picked through them, kept the nicer ones, but as a teenager, I had a slingshot. And I suppose the ones that were a bit modern, that you could just go down to the shop and buy, they went into the slingshot. So I reckon there'd have to be hundreds of marbles around in people's backyards that I've used to set tins up and shoot tins and that. But the better marbles are what, look, there's probably someone out there that knows marbles a lot more than what I do, but the better marbles are what they call German swirls, which are the ones in my hand there, the three. And it's where the colours are sort of twisted around from a point to a point. Now, there was an antique shop that opened up in Smysedale. Now, I'm talking back, probably 20 years ago. And I went out there, and there was about six of these particular marbles, the German swirls, a little bit bigger. And I remember buying them off the lady. Her name was Ruth. I think for about $40 each, which I know it seems like a lot, but there was two that I had, and they were identical marbles. So I sold one of them. I put it onto eBay, and an American buyer bought it, and he paid over $200 for it. I couldn't believe it. So any of these German swirls that I saw around the place, I was putting them into the jar. Now, there's my jar of marbles. A lot of really good ones in there. But yeah, then I looked up the other day on eBay US just to see, I suppose, curiosity, what they're worth, and there's quite a few on there. I don't know if it was US dollars or Australian dollars, but they were $580 or $480 for a German swirl. I know some are probably worth more than others. There was one on there, I think, for about $1,200, but it was from India, and yeah, I don't know if it was legit, but yeah. Now, I remember playing marbles as a kid at primary school, and yeah, I can't remember how the rules went, but I think it was you had to hit a certain marble 3 times to win it and that, and I won a lot of good marbles playing marbles at the primary school, so yeah. But marbles, don't think they're a bit of rubbish and throw them away, you know. Do a bit of research, and doesn't matter whether it's gold, marbles, or antiques or bottles. Research to find out what it is. Yeah. I think that's about it on the marbles, but yeah. Now, there's a on-the-field video about a miner's gold ring, which I purchased, it'd be going back 15 years ago. So we'll run to Taleesha to show that. Yeah, it's Darren here from Lucky Strike Gold in Geelong. Just got something to show you guys. A friend of mine back, it would have been probably the late 80s, early 90s, he was out prospecting at Avoca, and he was on the Avoca lead, and he went over a wash heap. That's where the miners have been washing their pay dirt, and it was a pile of gravel, and he got a noise, and he dug down, and to his surprise, this ring popped out. It's 22 carat. It's got the initials on it, RS. Off memory, it weighs about 20 grams and it's 22 carat. So it's probably been made on the goldfields from a nugget. Now, Ken loves his garden, and it was during summer. He had a massive water bill, and he said, look, he said, I don't really want to sell it, but I have to sell it to pay the water bill. And I said, I'll buy it on one condition, and that condition was I never sell it. So my kids will probably end up with it, but just a really nice piece of Australian goldfields history. Oh, yeah, just taking a swig of water. Yeah, lovely ring. Yeah, it's just a really nice piece of Australiana. I have got a few other gold rings, but I'll show you them in some more episodes that we're doing. But yeah, I just love, as you can gather, I love the old Relics mining history and relics, and yeah, my mum always said I should have been born 100 years ago because I just love the old stuff. Okay, the Minelab GPX 4500 is back. Now, there is limited stock. Look, it's a proven gold finder. It's a really good machine. And why I say it's a good machine is because you can put a lot of different aftermarket coils on them. Look, you can put coils on from a little 5-inch coil up to, 25-inch coil. So there's a variance of coils that you can put on the machine. So if you wanted to find small gold, you put a little small coil on. The little Joey coil or the Sadie coil is ideal on the 4500 for looking small gold. And look, they really punch down deep, really punch down deep. And there's different headphones you can put on them. So there's a lot of accessories that you can put with the 4500, and they are a proven gold machine. You might be asking what the price is of them. $3,499. It's not even an ounce of gold. What they come with is 3 coils. So they come with the mono coil, the double D coil, and the bigger coil, the 17-inch coil, I think they are, or something like that. But yeah, they come with the bigger coil. So look, a proven gold machine. That price, I don't think you can go wrong. We haven't got them in the shop yet, but please, if you want one, ring up the shop and put your name down, because yeah, they won't last long at that price. I don't know how many Minelab have got. There must have been a stash found somewhere in a warehouse somewhere, but yeah, great machine, great machine. Okay, tonight we're going to announce the winner of the first prize. What was the first prize? It was the stubby holder and the thing. Okay, who's won that, Taleesha? Renee Holler. Rennie Hoyer, sorry. Yeah, you've won first prize. So just either call into the shop if you're around the Geelong area, or ring up and we'll post it out to you. So well done. Second prize is Nick Kidness. I hope I pronounced that right. You've won that. So again, Nick, well done. Again, just call into the shop or ring up and we'll post it out to you. So well done, guys. Yeah, we've got a lot of presents and stuff to give away over the next few weeks. So there's a mozzie, big one. Right, now to the fun part. Some questions, and hopefully I can answer it, Gee, we've got a few up there. Best detector for beginners just starting off. Look, it really depends, I suppose, on your budget. With detectors, the more you spend, the better performance they'll give. But to start off with, say you're, looking for, you're just going to go out occasionally, I would probably start off with a gold monster. A gold monster is good, but like I said last week, you need to pick your ground suited for that machine. White clay, white pipe clay, which is your white clay that you'll see around, piles of quartz, in creek beds where you got your slates, your grey slates, and in the cracks you can turn it on its side. And look, it's a good one to start off with, but a lot of people will buy a gold monster elsewhere. Now, they don't know how to use it. They don't get shown. Something we do at Lucky Strike is we take you out for a full day's training on a gold monster and show you how to use it and where to use it. You can have the best detector in the world, but unless you know what you're looking for and how to use it, you're going to waste a lot of money. So, yeah. So, gold monster. I think they're about 1,300, somewhere around there, but yeah. But just ring up the shop and, yeah, we're there to help you guys. What causes ground noise? Again, you wave your magnet over the ground and see how much magnetic hot rocks, magnetic ground is in that ground. That's what gives you the ground noise. But, the dearer machines cope with that ground noise. Now, when I started with the earlier detectors, they didn't handle the mineralisation. It wasn't until 95 when Minelab bought out the SD2000, that was the big game changer in the industry. That handled the mineralisation and there was just gold, waiting to be picked up. And I remember when the SD2000 come out, I said to my wife, will I stay at my job or will I go full-time prospecting with this machine? And my wife said, well, it's your call. And we sort of had 2 newborns at that stage, and I thought, I'll play it safe, and I stayed at my job, but I'm kicking myself now, but yeah, anyway. Is the 6000 beginner friendly? Yes. The 6000 is a very light machine, and it's very easy to use, Like, to give you an idea, say with the 5000s that you can buy, there's over 200 different combinations. On the 6000, you could turn that machine on, ground balance, and go, and it's going to find gold. And a terrific machine, the 6000. If you bought a 6000, it'd probably be one of your best decisions ever made. Okay, next one. Where the areas on private tours done. Look, on a private tour, the first thing we'll do when you book into a private tour and we pick you up is say, what do you want to get out of the day? So I've had some people say, oh, look, I just want to be shown spots, and I'll drive around all day and say, this is a good spot, and I'll explain why it's a good spot, and that, where other tours people will want to know how to use their machine, I suppose, to the most advantage. Some people might not be finding gold and they just want to really take it to the next level, But look, private tours, I have got private land, which if you want to go on private land, I'll take you on there. But, sometimes people think, oh, private land's better than Crown land. I found a lot of my gold on Crown land. Like I said, it might not be the detector you're using, It's knowing how to use that detector. Suggestions on handling WA heat. Depends what time of the year you go over there, but look, any time really from May, June, July, August. It's generally 18 to 22. It's nice temperatures. If you go over there in the heat, please go with someone. And the reason I say that is because you might go over by yourself, you're out detecting in the middle of nowhere, you're not drinking enough, you pass out, and that could be the end of you. Yeah. If there's two of yous and you say you got EPIRBs and walkie-talkies, just check in with each other to make sure you're safe. But look, I've been over there in December, and I thought I'll do a little bit of detecting. I thought, gee, it's not hot, it's only 42. It was a different type of heat to what I'm used to. And I started detecting, started digging a few holes. I stood up and I felt a little bit dizzy. And I thought, no, it's not worth it. Look, I was right near the edge of the road, and yeah, I come home. I had to go over there to do with one of my leases. Yeah, we've got numerous leases over there. But yeah, you're better off not going by yourself. If you are detecting over there in the heat, you could go out at night time. But nighttime there's a lot of snakes out, and I don't like snakes. Or a little bit of detecting in the morning, a little bit at night. But personally, I think you're better off going between May and August. Okay. Gee, someone has a relative with a property in the Golden Triangle. Wow. I'd be definitely going and having a look at that. You know, when I go to an area that I'm not sure of, if there's a reef hole on top of the hill, that's where the miners have followed the quartz down. There's got to be gold coming out down the sides of the hill. So I'll look down the sides of the hills. But a good way to know whether there is gold in a particular property, and there might be a creek running through it, is get into the creek system and pan and have a look to see if there's any small particles of gold in that creek system, and have a look at the gold. Like the old timers used to carry around a magnifying glass, and they would study that gold to see whether it's a bit sharp or smooth, because a smooth bit of gold can get washed down, you know, a K down the creek. But yeah, you've just got to put the time in and have a look, I suppose. But yeah, if you're in the Golden Triangle and there's your two main rocks there, which are host rocks, quartz and ironstone, have a look. Next one.
Same question.
Same question, sorry. Large gum trees, quartz piles at the base. Does this indicate workings? Look, if I'm looking around a base of a large tree, if you're in an area and you know there's gold there, you always go around the trees, because as that tree's growing, it brings up the gold and the quartz and the other sediments with it. And especially around the trees, if that rock is smooth and water-worn, there's been an old creek system there. But it doesn't mean that there's gold in that area, but it's certainly worth a look. Yeah. I knew someone would ask this question. As are we a Minelab dealership, are we getting axed? Definitely not. I'll read out something. I'll read it out now. I got a memo sent through to me. Basically, in a nutshell, it's saying, that Minelab's here to support us and to grow the dealership. And I can tell you one thing, guys, we are not going anywhere at Lucky Strike. We're there. Yeah, I won't read it all, but no. Look, my blood boils a little bit on this topic because there's a lot of BS going on out there, and it's either competition or someone that's got something to gain from it, and it's all BS. Yeah, no, certainly not. We're here. Okay, I'll move on. Comparison on a 4500 with other gold machines. In-depth response. Well,
next week we'll do an in-depth response.
Okay, yeah. Next week we'll do an in-depth response. Yeah. Yeah. What machine would you recommend between a 7 and a 6? It depends on a few factors, and the factors are you in your 80s or are you in your 20s? Are you a strong bloke or a small bloke? Look, the GPX, GPZ 7000, in my opinion, is the deepest detecting machine we've got out there. But they're a little bit on the heavy side. But with a 6000 being a light machine, you're going to come home with a lot more pieces. So it depends what you're chasing, what type of ground you're working. Are you working new ground? Are you working old ground? Are you working heaps? You're not working heaps? There's a lot of variables there. But if you're in an open paddock or WA and you're looking for, I suppose, patches and that big deep nugget, the 7000. But if you're working mullock heaps and you're working old patches, definitely the 6. You know, I had a claim over in WA where most machines had been over on the tours over the years. I went over that machine when the 6 come out and I pulled another 120 pieces off it, but small gold at depth. Yeah, I'm not saying that the 7000 won't get them, but you're more likely to get more smaller pieces with the 6 over the 7. I think that will do it, guys. What else have we got? That's the end of the show. Wow. And it all went well. Look, tonight, unfortunately, it's clashed with another show. We sort of started up Wednesday nights because there was a gap there, but the other show has started up again. So we're going to start Tuesday nights at 7:30 next week. And yeah, hopefully you can get something out of it each time we do the show. Okay, I'll just finish off with one phrase that Dave, who is my trainer tour guide, says, happy gold dreams. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.